Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. At this point of the show last night, I was expecting to hear that baseball had an agreement to play. I still think they will, but I'm not going to say a word until I actually see players on the field. In the meantime, college and pro football might be in danger too. And speaking of that, Ohio State and Alabama have agreed for the first time to a home-and-home series beginning in 2027. Nick Saban will be 75. Mary Kay Cabot is here. More sports and Les Levine is on the air. I'm 1 for 1 on the new set. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into its 24th consecutive year. Coming up on 25, that'll be in September, exclusively on cleveland.com. Mary Kay Cabot is here covering the Cleveland Browns and anything football. Hello, Mary Kay. How are you?
I'm doing great, Les. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. All right, so last night we thought there was baseball to be announced. And then tonight, not only do we find out there's no deal yet, we find out that Dr. Fauci is saying football is in trouble this fall. Is this crying wolf, or is this the real deal, or what are you hearing around the league?
Wow, he really threw some water on the NFL today when he came out and said that. He told that to CNN that unless NFL is played in a bubble, much like the NBA is getting ready to do, he thinks it may be very difficult to bring football back. He doesn't see how it's going to happen, and he wonders if it'll happen at all if there is a second wave. So this, of course, sent shock waves through the NFL. They had to come out and respond to this and try to calm the waters a little bit.
Well, here's exactly what he said, talking about the 2020 NFL season. Unless players are essentially in a bubble, insulated from the community, they would be tested nearly every day. It would be very hard to see how football is able to be played this fall. There's only if there is a second wave, a lot of people think the second wave is really the continuation of the first wave, and that would be complicated by the predictable flu season, and that would be in fall. Football may not happen this year. He has no chip in the game here, really. So he's just telling you medically what's going on. He couldn't care less one way or the other, except he wants to save lives, right?
Well, all the way along, I think he has kind of taken that stance that, you know what, the virus is going to set the timetable. And until there are treatments and remedies and everyone feels safe, then it's going to be difficult to do some of these larger group activities. And of course, football, we've talked about this all along, is different than even baseball or golf or some of the sports that don't have as much contact. I mean, football, they are all over each other all the time. The players will be the first to tell you that it's a sport where they're sweating and bleeding and spitting all over each other, and there's a pile that you have to be dug out from underneath, and it's just a different animal. And if guys start testing positive, then it's going to change the game.
Well, several NFL players have already tested positive, including Ezekiel Elliott of the Cowboys, and that shows one of the problems. He's very upset that the word got out on that, but I don't know how you can keep that from getting out.
Well, yeah, that kind of word with a player of that caliber, testing positive for COVID, there is no way that is going to be kept under wraps. The question is, now these guys, they didn't get it in a football setting per se, because there hasn't been one yet. No players have been allowed into the facilities. There have not been practices through the teams yet. Now, there are some players getting together in smaller groups. We saw Baker Mayfield do that with some guys, but he was very careful to do it with social distancing procedures and things like that. But once they get together, and they're in the weight room, and they're in the locker room, and they're on the field together, this could bring up a lot of positive tests, and they're going to have to decide what to do at that point.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at realleslavine@gmail.com. It's kind of a surprising projection here as far as I'm concerned. Pro Football Fantasy Football predicts that Joe Burrow is going to have a better season than Baker Mayfield. Let's take a look at why they think that's the case. Baker Mayfield, they're projecting 3,681 yards to 3,734. No discernible difference there. 20 touchdowns for Baker, 23 for Burrow. They're not putting in. This would get an incomplete from me as a professor at The Ohio State University because they're not giving you interceptions there either. What do you suppose this is based on? The Browns should, I would think, clearly would have a better group surrounding him also, surrounding Baker, than what they're going to have for Burrow. So what do you suppose that's all about? Dissatisfaction with what Baker did last year?
You know what? It might be some of that, but it might also be the fact that this is a pretty run-oriented offense. And maybe they think that since it's kind of new, since Baker hasn't had an opportunity to actually work in this offense yet, that they might rely a little bit more heavily on the running game. And therefore, then you could see maybe a Joe Burrow having more touchdown passes than a Baker Mayfield. I think it's that more than anything.
Mary Kay, at this point of the season or the offseason in past years, pretty much the building would be closed down because everybody's on vacation. You can't find anybody in there. How much different is this now, or is this the way it normally should be?
Well, the coaches and some of the personnel guys are still in the building, and they will still be in the building. And I don't think that that it'll be completely shut down for a period of time. Really, what happens at this time of year is that the players disperse and they go their separate ways, and the coaches do for a period of maybe about 3 weeks or so, but really not the amount of time that the players do. This is the time for the players to go off and to take their vacations, to get their bodies ready, to maybe spend some time working out together. But this is that time from the middle of June to the end of July when training camp starts, where you really just don't see the players much.
216-575-0403. Mary Kay Cabot of the Plain Dealer and, of course, cleveland.com is with us. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the last 6 months? Well, you can find out that people are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all over the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game today and play it as often as you can handle. 216-575-0403 is the number. We can also be followed on Facebook, facebook.com/More Sports and Less Levine, with new content posted each and every day. Really simple. We post a question in the morning. You answer it all day long, and then you'll have it read over the air, which do it every night if you'd like. We've got you covered if that's the case. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. More Sports and Less Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art BetAmerica kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Maurice, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Hi, Wes. Is it just me, or are you concerned?
For today, the 18th of June, George Mikan, the first big man. His son actually played for the initial Cavaliers team back in 1970. Lou Brock, Bobby Sox in 1947, Andres Galarraga, Sandy Alomar celebrating a birthday today, and Antonio Gates. Also, we all know him. 216-575-0403. As you know, we have the voicemail of Truth and Reason. People can call and leave messages for us. Let's hear what we have today on the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Hi, Wes. Is it just me, or are you concerned, too, that we're starting to see more of the same from Odell Beckham? What I mean is, for the second season in a row, he had an excuse why he couldn't be with his teammates during off-season. So while his teammates are in Austin, Texas, running patterns with Baker Mayfield, he couldn't be there. But 2 weeks later, he's all over social media doing stuff, who knows what, with Cam Newton, who last time I saw wasn't on the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland. Hi, Mary Kay. What do you think about that? Odell Beckham last year didn't attend Baker's session, but he did work out with Cam Newton. Do you have a problem with that anyway?
What's happening is the fact that Odell lives out in Los Angeles in the off season. And so he's just at home. And what he was doing was working out at UCLA with Cam, basically in his backyard. So this wasn't a situation where he traveled to go work out with Cam. They just both happened to be in Los Angeles at the time. And Odell is in a very, very strict rehab protocol for his core muscle surgery. And even though he's probably very close to being where he needs to be, he's still going through his whole regimen of what he needs to do to get onto the field in September. So I didn't have a problem with it. He's just training right in LA. Cam happened to be there. I do think, however, that Baker probably will organize another throwing session, and it would be nice if Odell could be at that one. I don't think that that Jarvis will be ready yet, but Odell might be ready. If he's not, he's not. But if he can get there, it would probably be good.
So you don't put much credence in the need for them to be together, because especially in a year like this when you got a new offense again and new schemes put in. You okay with it all?
Well, I mean, in a perfect world, I think it would be nice if they could get some work together, and hopefully for both of them, they will. But this was a weird year. It was just a weird year in a lot of ways, obviously. But Odell is recovering from a surgery. So, he does kind of have a built-in reason why he can't stray from his off-season program this year.
Are you working under the assumption that both wide receivers are physically okay from the surgery that they have? Because we haven't heard anything negative about that.
No, I think that it seems like they're both going to be okay. It seems like they will both be healthy throughout the season this year. They both look really good in their rehabs. They're running, they're cutting. We obviously saw Odell catching some one-handed passes. We see Jarvis working on the Bosu ball, getting his balance and his timing and all that kind of stuff down. So I really think that they should probably be better than they were last season.
As much criticism and plaudits that Baker Mayfield has had, what are you thinking about his coming out and saying that he's going to back his teammates on the flag situation and all that? I'm guessing that didn't surprise you that that's what he had to say.
No, it did not surprise me that he came out and said that he's going to kneel for the national anthem. It didn't really surprise me that he would do that. I think the part that mildly surprised me was the fact that just the week beforehand, Kevin Stefanski told us that the players and his leadership council were going to get together. They were going to have discussions about this, and that they were going to make a decision together on what they wanted to do. And so, I guess I was a little surprised that Baker kind of got into it with people on Instagram, and saying that he was take your head out or whatever. Of course, I'm going to do this. I'm absolutely going to be kneeling for the national anthem. But it was a strong, bold statement for him to make. He backed it up. He came out and said he doesn't care if he loses fans over it. That's okay. This is how strongly he feels about taking this stand, actually taking this knee, and that's not going to change.
This being Kevin Stefanski's first rodeo here, as if there wasn't enough stuff to pile on, he gets all this piled on, and I thought he came through very well. I'm not sure who he looked for advice, but the way he said it and what he said, from a team standpoint, seemed to be the right approach to take.
You mean Baker Mayfield or Kevin Stefanski?
No, Kevin
right
Stefanski.
Now. Kevin. Yeah, Kevin Stefanski, I thought he did a great job when we talked to him on the Zoom call. I think it was now 2 weeks ago. He really was just very adamant about sticking with his players, having his players back, giving them concrete things that they could do, attending a peaceful protest himself, and asking his players to get in the arena. I mean, he showed true leadership. These are the reasons why they hired Kevin Stefanski. And so far, he has answered the call in every way.
Mary Kay Cabot with us, cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Monday night, Andy Baskin will be here. Before that, Friday night weekend winners with Dave Bacon. That'll be on Friday. Then we've got the D-Man Dennis Maniloff on Wednesday. And, of course, Thursday, Mary Kay will be back. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. Northeast Factory Direct. 3 great locations, east, west, and to the south. South, of course, in Macedonia. But, of course, where you want to go first is the website, northeastfactorydirect.com. Mary Kay and I return in a moment. More sports and less Levine seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say, it's not just a floor, wow, it's Naturestone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Has Kareem showed you enough in the past as a receiver that you think he could take on a role in whatever capacity that might be in the passing game?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very impressed with him as a receiver. Obviously, don't want to comment too much on that because it's really not the position I'm coaching. But I will say that I've been impressed with him as a receiver, as a running back, and I've been fortunate to be around a lot of good ones at that spot. And I know that it brings great value to that position when you can be a threat in the pass game for sure.
To what extent do you consider Kareem part of your group, although you have to see him on the field and everything? Is he in the Zoom meetings with your guys at all?
Yeah, there's been a lot of interaction offensively, which has been one of the things that I think has been great, that I didn't know was possible at the beginning of this process, the amount of us that are on together. So we definitely, as we do, if we were in the building, we've had a lot of crossover with other positions and other coaches. And I just think it's been been really helpful and something that, looking back in hindsight of this situation, it's been beneficial that we spend as much time together as positions that we have.
That's Chad O'Shea, not to be confused with Chad O.J., the former pitcher for the Cleveland Indians. Mary Kay Cabot with us. Mary Kay, did the Browns have too many coaches? Or is that just the way of the NFL these days?
No, they don't have too many coaches. I mean, really, they just have pretty much one for everything and then a couple of extra guys and quality control people. So I think it's about what most teams do. I don't think it's excessive at all.
No, I think the question is that not only is the team new, the staff is new, but the staff not only has to get used to the players that they're meeting for the first time, they also have to do that with the coaches and have some kind of camaraderie that way and show a united front as far as the head coach is concerned.
Yeah, they really do. Now, of course, Kevin Stefanski knows some of his assistant coaches very well, like a Chad O'Shea, like his defensive coordinator, Joe Woods. But in other cases, he will be getting to know his assistant coaches. They will be getting to know him and each other. So there's going to be a learning curve when they finally do all get together. There's just certain things that you find out about people out on the football field or maybe even in a meeting room that you're just not going to find out on a Zoom call. They're
Right.
doing the best they can, and they're trying to build camaraderie and team and all those sorts of things, but it's still going to be a little different.
So Kareem Hunt joins the team last year, middle of the season. The season is underway. They had whatever type of performance they were going to have. It was already set, especially with the coaching situation. But what do you look for with Kareem Hunt? Is he going to be a wide receiver? Is he going to be a running? Is he splitting the running back duties, or is he going to be a little of each?
I think he'll be a little of each. I think they'll use him in multiple ways. I think they want to keep those ways under wraps. It doesn't behoove them right now to tell us exactly what they're going to do with Kareem Hunt. Why should they give away their game planning like that? He's a weapon that they can use in so many different ways. Now, Alex Van Pelt has said that he will use both of them on the field at the same time. But of course, we knew that. We watched that happen last year. There's no reason why you wouldn't. You can split Kareem out wide. You can use him as a fullback. You can play them in the wishbone. I mean, there's all different kinds of things that you can do. So you know that Nick and Kareem will be on the field together a fair amount. And in some of those instances, Kareem will be the third receiver.
All right, so Kareem Hunt shows up last year. He winds up being the third leading receiver on the team. There you see it. Hunt with 37 catches, Damian Ratley with 12, Callaway 8, Hodge with 4, and Higgins for 4. And I'm kind of surprised they brought these guys back because with the new coaching staff and all that, it would be easy to let them go if they weren't happy with them. But it appears that they may think they can find a way to use these guys.
Well, again, I do think that Kareem Hunt is a really good candidate to be on the field as that third receiver because, once again, you can do so many things with him and you can create that mystery, that ambiguity of whether or not you're running the ball or whether you're passing the ball. And Kevin Stefanski loves to do that, to make it confusing. So he brings that element. And so I think that you'll see him a lot in that role. Then you've got Rashard Higgins, who, he's out of the doghouse now. He was firmly in it last year under Freddie Kitchens, and it's an opportunity for him to redeem himself. So he is hungry. He's working his tail off this offseason. He wants to make an impact.
Yeah, I found when they're talking about with offensive coordinator, whether he's going to call plays or not call plays, he's talking about winning games or showing up schemes different week by week by week, which is kind of surprising. You think of student body right, they just do student body right. They think of whatever, but it looks like they're going to move it around and not be able, and the defenses won't be able to figure out what they're doing just by what they see on film, which I think is an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, when you use the play action and the kinds of things that they will be doing schematically, you can run or pass out of those formations, out of those play calls. So, the defense is going to be very confused. They're going to bite on that run a lot, and they will have reason to, because when you have a Nick Chubb and when you have a Kareem Hunt, the threat of that run is very real. But then you draw them in, you fake them out a little bit, and you leave some passing lanes open. Also, Baker Mayfield will be rolled out a lot on bootlegs and things like that. The stuff that you saw Kyle Shanahan do with Brian Hoyer and the things that you see him do with Jimmy Garoppolo and Matt Ryan. You're going to see those things from Baker Mayfield. So he's going to be on the move. He's going to be on the run, but he excels in those situations. I mean, he can nail it when he's on the move. And I think that's one of his biggest strengths.
Well, the NFLPA, the Players Association, put out their list of top rising stars. Nick Chubb, number 1. I don't think that surprises too many people. Aaron Jones of the Packers, number 2. Metcalf of the Seahawks, and Marquise Brown of the Ravens, and Deebo Samuel of the 49ers. It's been a long time since the national people have caught on to what the Cleveland Browns have had. You can explore your interests and find a program that could lead you to a path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu to find out more information. Mary Kay Cabot and I return in a moment. More sports, and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get texts sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
How about this day in sports history if you're a golfer? These are big days. June 18th, 2000. Tiger Woods wins the U.S. Open by 15 strokes. And in 1986, Jack Nicklaus wins the U.S. Open and ties Bobby Jones with a total of 13 majors. Unbelievable numbers. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary Kay Cabot is with us. Andy Baskin on Monday. That'll be after the Weekend Winners Show with Dave Bacon on Friday. Then Bud Shaw on Tuesday. And, of course, on Wednesday, the D-Man, Dennis Manilow. Chris Rowling of the Bleacher Report had a couple of things to say about Jadeveon Clowney. Mary Kay, we can't get rid of this guy. He winds up being on the show every night. I don't know if his agent is doing that or what they're trying to do with him. But he can't get rid of him.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of mileage out of this. He's being talked about almost every day. Who knows? Maybe that's driving the price up. Maybe that's generating even more interest in him.
You think he'll wind up as a Cleveland Brown this year?
I still think there's a chance. I think that they want him. They have good offers out there available. He knows that all he really has to do is pick up the phone and say the word, and he can be a Cleveland Brown. I mean, that's kind
Yeah,
of
he
what the
even
situation is
turned them
right
down, but the Browns won't say no. You can't turn us down.
No, I think that if he realizes that he doesn't have a whole lot of other opportunities, and he probably has a place or two that he really has in mind,
Right.
but if he realizes that it's not going to work out in one of those places, I think he can end up here.
Well, here's what Chris Rowling had to say from Bleacher Report. He says Clowney is an elite defender, but he's never put up a ton of sacks. He had only 3 last year and just 30 pressures. That's why the positional designation of Clowney's franchise tag in the past has come under scrutiny and probably helps explain why he's still a free agent. Now it's June, and the teams willing to pay big are strapped for cap space. ESPN's Brady Henderson, for example, reported that Clowney would have to take a significantly less amount of money than what Seattle had previously offered him for a reunion between the two. The big part of free agency for a player or a team is timing and reading the market. And according to Rowling, he says Clowney appears to have misread both of them. Well, he did start at what, 21 million before it came down to what it is now?
He wanted about 20. Then he lowered his demands to about 17 or 18. And I know he's had offers that have been pretty competitive for what he's seeking from a yearly average standpoint. So it's just a matter of what he wants to do. I'm not sure that anybody really knows quite exactly what's going on inside his head right now, because he could definitely have a job if he wanted it.
Okay, so he's a potential free agent. You got other free agents out there, different positions. What do you do if the Cleveland Browns? You could also hang on to the money for the Cleveland Browns. What would you do?
Well, I think I would sign Clowney. I've said all along that I would sign him. So I think I would go ahead and do that, because I think if you can wrap him up for the next, for a multi-year contract for 4 years or whatever, and then you can extend Myles Garrett, you're really set with 2 very formidable edge rushers at those 2 edge positions for the next, 4 or 5 years. And, that can lead you to the promised land. That can be part of that. So I think I would go ahead and do that. There is another person that has become available. Jets All-Pro safety Jamal Adams has asked to be traded today. That's an interesting thing to think about. Now, I think he's kind of put out a wish list of about 7 teams that he would love to play for. I did not see the Cleveland Browns on that list, but I mean, you never know. I mean, he's again an All-Pro player, one of the best at his position in the NFL, if not the best. And it's, something that, these are the kind of guys that Andrew Berry is always willing to explore. Even if it goes nowhere, he's always willing to kick the tires on a guy like that.
What about the linebacking situation? It doesn't look like they've made any attempt to do anything. Are they happy with what they've got, or do they have something up their sleeve we don't know about?
I think they're happy enough with what they have right now. And, I could see them adding someone once some guys get cut, guys shake loose from another team, or you make a minor trade. I don't see them adding a big name blockbuster linebacker. I don't think that's in the cards. I think they feel pretty okay with what they have.
Why is that? Is it because the definition of a linebacker or the importance of a linebacker is different today than it has been? And along those lines, why wouldn't Clay Matthews III be somebody they'd be interested in?
Well, I just think in this particular defense that linebacker is not a premium position. They're more interested in their defensive backs and their defensive line, and that's just the name of the game for them. And you can see that that's where they allocated their resources and are still willing to allocate their resources and pay a Jadeveon Clowney $15 million a year or whatever it's going to be if he lands here. They were not willing to pay Joe Schobert $10.5 million a year that he got from the Jaguars. So linebacker is just not a super high priority, in part because, they just might not even use 3 linebackers that often. They'll use 2. And, they just aren't, it's not going to happen. As far as Clay Matthews is concerned, they have shown really no interest in signing him. I don't think, some teams don't feel that he played his best last year, that, he doesn't have enough left in the tank to put a full commitment in. And I just don't see it happening.
I know you don't want to do stuff for PR reasons, but that would be one of the most popular deals that the Browns would have ever made. if they would somehow make a deal with him. But if
Yeah,
he
I
can't
thought
play,
so.
he can't play. If he
Yeah,
can't,
I thought it would be kind of cool.
yeah.
I was, I had been saying, why not do it? Just have a veteran presence in the linebacker room, somebody that could really, set the tone, show these guys, the young guys, how it's done. Also bring, a strong pass rush element. He had 8 sacks last year. So I do think that, for my money, it would have been a good signing. But I just don't get the sense that they're interested.
You hear of any other team interested in him? I have not.
No, I'm sure he's got some feelers out there, but he's another one that's in one of those situations where there's not a sense of urgency to get it done right now, so he can afford to wait for a little bit of a better offer.
216-575-0403. If you want to get in with the Hey Mary Kay, you're more than welcome to do that. And you can also email us during the show, and that would be at reallesslevine@gmail.com. Northeast Factory Direct. They've got, Alex has been in the business 20 years. He started with one dining room set in his garage, and look what he's turned it into, one of the great success stories in Cleveland business. 3 locations, if you count the website. Euclid, Ohio, on Lakeland Boulevard, as well as West 140th and Freeway Drive, that's in Macedonia, as well as northeastfactorydirect.com. Sokolowski's University Inn, 95 years in business in the same location, started in 1923. They're getting ready to announce their plans for the return, and we're looking forward to that. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. We'll come back in a moment. Mary Kay Cabot with us. More sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your basement is the go-to part of your home. It's your children's rec room. It's where your family and friends spend time together. It's much more than just a basement. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone basement floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive mini pearl stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot, plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's take a look at this date in Les Levine history. June 18th, 1966, Ohio State beats Oklahoma State 8-2 to win their only College World Series. Les had tried to walk onto that team, but he was cut. But he did get the T-shirt for his 4-day appearance as an Ohio State Buckeye. Let's look at the rest of the week in Les Levine history, as this is the last live show. Les decides to forego the MLB draft. Good move on his part. Nobody asked him. He just said, no, I'm not interested. Is that all we had for the week? It was kind of a short week in Les Levine history. There you go. Les thinks 1973, there should be a rule change in basketball. If there's a foul in the last 5 minutes, like in hockey, the player who committed the foul should go into the penalty box, and the game should continue 5-on-4. What do you think, Mary Kay? Do you think football could do something like that, 11-on-10, because of a penalty? Not a good idea?
I don't see.
What's
I
that?
don't see it happening, but in the crazy world that we're living in right now, I suppose absolutely anything can happen.
We may see it, no question about that. I heard Brian Anderson talking about baseball. He said he's not in favor of adding playoff games, but what the heck, this is a whole new world. Let's do anything. You make it the Wild West for the first year, and maybe in football also. I'm going to ask you, we have a Facebook question of the day, which we've asked our audience. and then I'm going to ask you just make a change in it. More than any other professional sport, baseball continues to find new ways to alienate its fans. Why do you hang in there? So, Mary Kay, after we go through that, we're going to ask you about the Browns who struggled since 1999. What's kept the fan base strong? We'll check that out when we get back from some of these responses that we got. Ted Moon says that's a great question. The relatability is the biggest factor. I pitched. I played every position. I had fly balls go over my head in right field. I can see the players' faces, too. I dreamed of being a baseball player until, heck, I still dream of being half as good as some of these guys. Baseball has my heart and has me wrapped around their little finger. Glenn Berger says, baseball is the best game ever played. We all played baseball when we were young kids. We get to watch or listen to every Indians game day after day. No matter what happens in the game played today, there's going to be another one to look forward to tomorrow. Dennis Davis, best sport out there. The game is great. The participants, not so much. Pat Moore says MLB is the fairest game on the field. Off the field, not so much, with large markets and small markets and no salary cap. But on the field, this is the least impacted by officiating. You do have balls and strikes to contend with, but most umpires are consistent. Even if you're called out on a pitch way off the plate, you had 2 other strikes to work with. Not too many times an umpire is going to mess up 3 balls that are way off the plate. Tim Ross says, I grew up and came to love Cleveland sports in the mid to late 90s. No Browns, Cavs were mediocre, and the Tribe was in contention every year. I could care less about the other baseball teams, but the Tribe had a special place in my heart. Dan Gillespie, I'm an admitted addict. I can't stay away no matter how hard I tried. Each time I fall off the wagon, baseball by far and away is the greatest sport of them all. What other sport does the defense have the ball? Good question. Andy Mees, good question, Les. I hang in because baseball is the game I fell in love with first. It's the least predictable game of all, and anybody in the lineup can step up and be a hero. It's not necessarily the best player on the team that gets to shine in the big moment, as we saw with journeyman Bill Selby hitting that walk-off grand slam against the great Mariano Rivera back in 2002. Len Gold says, I'm still waiting to see the Indians win a World Series. Gerard Morelli responds to that. He says, Len Gold, don't hold your breath. I'm 72 and I'm running out of time. Mary Kay, will switch it to football. You covered it. You're as close to it as anybody here with the fans and how they feel about it. What has kept the fan base strong, considering what's happened here since 1995 and then going on to 1999?
Well, I think one of the things that happens is that, hope always springs eternal around draft time. I mean, they always have these high draft picks. People get excited. Johnny Manziel's coming in here and he's going to be the savior. And then, Brian Hoyer's here and he's going to be the guy. And, then it seems like year after year, there are these off seasons of hope, even heading into last year, obviously, thinking that after what happened in 2018, that last year was going to be the year they finally arrived. There always seems to be something that kind of hooks the fans and brings them back and reels them back in. But it's just a loyal fan base to begin with. I mean, anywhere you go in the country, there are Browns fans everywhere. It just dates all the way back to, the 1964 championship game and even before that. So, I just think that it's just a town that just loves its Cleveland Browns football.
Is that a function of the NFL and their system of how they make it a 12-month year as far as the whether it's the draft, whether it's the Pro Bowl, you name it, they space it, OTAs, they space it out, so it's really a 12-month season, but you don't feel that way. So do they get credit for part of that, adjusting to the teams and their needs?
Yes. I mean, the NFL does a terrific job of staying in the news year round, almost every day. Look, we are into June. We are into mid-June right now. There hasn't been a Browns game since the end of December, and I can't think of very many days where I haven't written a Browns story. I mean, there's always something going on, and it will be that way all the way up until until training camp starts for the most part, and then it just gets going again. So, yeah, the NFL does a great job of generating news, and the Browns certainly do.
So, if we would talk to one of your cohorts with another franchise, would they feel that their franchise is being worked that way also, or they say that it really helps a team that's been mediocre at best? I mean, if we went to, I don't know, to pick a team, would the fans still be taking advantage of the 12-month season? the PR season.
In some cities they do, but I think in Cleveland there's just so much more interest in the Browns, even around the country, than there is in other teams. That's why you see so many of the national writers, they trip over themselves to try to come up with insider Browns nuggets for those Sunday mornings. Because the Browns move the needle, not just locally, but nationally, because of all the fans all over the country and even the world.
It's unbelievable. I know that's the case in baseball because so many of the national guys in baseball are Cleveland Indians guys. So that's getting a little headline action also. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We'll come back in a moment with Mary Kay Cabot, and we'll have her grade some How Come Quickies when we check them out. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your garage is the entrance to your home. It's where your kids come in from school. It's where your family and friends gather together. It's much more than just a garage. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone garage floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive gray-brown blend stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, it's the weekend winter edition. Dave Bacon will have that along with Doug Maurice. That's tomorrow from 6 until 7. You see us 6 till 7 p.m. Eastern Time every night, Monday through Friday. And there you go. You can also write in or drop us an email the other 23 hours of the day. We got an email that came in from Mary Kay from Ronnie Butcher in Harts, West Virginia. And we talked about this before, Mary Kay, but he says, although I'm very optimistic about the Browns' offense this year, I have big concerns about the run defense. I believe that we've got better depth at tackle, but how can Browns fans feel better about this unit with a youthful linebacking core? So maybe go over what you said earlier about the linebacking core and what this defense thinks about it.
Well, I think they have the guys to get the job done. Now, actually, B.J. Goodson, who I think will be a leading contender to start at middle linebacker, is a very good tackler. He graded out very well on that last year. And then, it's going to be the year that Mack Wilson and Sione Takitaki are going to have to step it up and show that they belong in this league and that they can play and be effective. And then you've got the rookie Jacob Phillips out of LSU. Again, he's a third-round pick. Third-round picks should come in and get significant playing time. But as far as the run defense is concerned, remember, the second half of last year, they were without Myles Garrett and Olivier Vernon for almost the whole second half of the season. So just by virtue of those guys getting back, unless, of course, Jadeveon Clowney instead of Olivier Vernon, with those guys on the field, the run defense alone should be much better.
When we talk about maybe a problem with the linebacking situation, is that me and other people who are guilty of not understanding what the NFL is all about anymore as far as that position? Some position has to be kind of left off a little bit, and it seems the one that's being left off or given short shrift would be linebacker. Is that my fault for thinking that way, or is that the way the NFL is?
No, I think it's a function of the Browns could not completely overhaul and upgrade every single position to the point that they wanted to this year. They kind of, Andrew Berry, it looks like he picked his spots in certain ways. So some of it is a function of the linebacker is not a premium position to them. The other part of it is in this particular year, they just really weren't willing to invest the resources in that. They will find out as the season goes along if they left themselves a little bit short at the position. Now, last year, we all felt that they were leaving themselves somewhat short on the offensive line, and it turned out to be a little bit of a liability.
And
So they will probably know within the first 4 games if they left themselves short.
Right. We talked a few minutes ago about the national people interested in the Cleveland Browns. On an average week, and depending on what the news is, it's different each week. How many hits, as we say, will you do with other team, either media people or the teams themselves? Do you have somebody every day?
In terms of national media doing
Yeah,
things
calling
with
and
us,
saying what's going on with the Cleveland Browns and what are you thinking? Because you're the person you're the go-to person.
you know what, lots of interaction. And then I think the best way to kind of encapsulate that is the fact that, I do a lot of national radio, especially during the season. Now it's a slow time right now. But during the season, there is just so much interest in the Cleveland Browns that on any given day, I could be asked to do, 3 or 4 different national hits of some sort. And if I wanted to, I could spend all kinds of time doing that. So you kind of have to pick your spots, but there is plenty of national interest in the Cleveland Browns.
All right, so is this year different because of the pandemic? Is it different because it's just another new head coach, and the Browns always have new head coaches? What is it a function of? The fact that we don't know for sure that there's football, although it sure sounds like there will be.
Well, I think a lot of people got burned last year by things that they said about the Cleveland Browns. And I
Present
think a lot of
company
people
included.
went way overboard, and now they might be overcorrecting a little bit. Now they might be kind of, underestimating them, which is probably a good place for them to be, the Browns. It would probably be better for them to try to sneak up on people a little bit than to have the Tennessee Titans so sick and tired of hearing about the mighty Cleveland Browns that by the time they got to the opener, they just wanted to punch them in the mouth.
Sure.
So I think it's better for them to just kind of, as Baker Mayfield said, move in silence and go do their job.
But it's easy for the national people who maybe didn't follow the team all year. It's easy for them to say, well, it was Baker Mayfield's fault, but the real fault was Freddie Kitchens as the head coach. But there's no guarantee that you're going to have anything different in the head coach situation. And Stefanski may or may not be an improvement. We hope he is. We just don't know for sure until the whistle blows on Sunday afternoon.
Right. I mean, we know he'll be more organized. We know that he has more of a plan. We know that he has an upgraded offense. I mean, now there are 2 better tackles that will be helping to protect Baker, and he's got, another tight end in Austin Hooper, and his receivers should be healthy. So I think there are a lot of things that should be better on offense this year, but there are clear signs at this point in the year that Kevin Stefanski is an upgrade over Freddie Kitchens.
Do you think they have a decision on who calls the plays this year? Or
I
is it
do,
still
but I
to
don't
be
think it's a
determined?
huge decision. Again, I don't think it's like, Andy Reid versus Alex Van Pelt. I mean, Kevin Stefanski only called plays for a little bit over 1 season. Same thing with Alex Van Pelt. So you've got 2 guys that are qualified to do it, neither of which has done it for a long period of time, both of which can probably get the job done, and it's just going to be a matter of who's better at it.
All right, heading down the stretch here. Other than Baker Mayfield, who's the most and Stefanski? Who's the most important person leading into this season for the Cleveland Browns? Who has to deliver what he's supposed to deliver?
So you're taking Baker and Kevin Stefanski out of that equation?
Yeah, because the quarterback is obvious, and I think the head coach is obvious too. But if you're taking a look at Myles Garrett, for example, or Odell Beckham, switching ball side of the game, offense and defense, who's the most important person to deliver what he's supposed to deliver?
Well, that can be answered in a lot of different ways, but I think we know what Myles Garrett is, so I'm not going to say him. What I'm going to say is Odell Beckham Jr., because he only caught 4 touchdown passes last year. And I think in order for him to, as you described, to really deliver and to really come through, he's got to be in that end zone more. He has to have opportunities to be in the end zone more, and he needs to be catching double-digit touchdown catches. If he can do that, they're going to be winning some football games, scoring the football, as they say, and making a run for the playoffs.
I think offensively it's going to be a lot of fun. Mary Kay, as always, thank you. Great job. You're terrific.
Thank you.
All right, Mary Kay Cabot. You can read her at cleveland.com and The Plain Dealer. Tomorrow night, it's the Weekend Winners edition. That's Dave Bacon along with Doug Maurice. I'll be back on Monday. Andy Baskin will join me Tuesday. Bud Shaw. Wednesday, it'll be the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff. And on Thursday, Mary Kay will be back again. Let's have a great sports weekend. Maybe we've got some good news about some of the leagues and their games. If not, I'll still be here. More sports and less Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.